Evan Walker had always believed his thoughts were his own. He lived a quiet life on a remote space station far from Earth, fixing old cargo ships for scraps. He didn't talk much, he didn't trust easily, and he never imagined anyone would ever care enough to look inside his mind. The universe, however, had different plans for him the day he found the strange escape pod drifting near the station's perimeter. It was old, cracked, and barely holding pressure. Yet something inside it kept weakly tapping, like a tired heartbeat, refusing to die. Evan maneuvered the small repair shuttle close and used the mechanical arm to pull the pod toward the dock. He expected a broken drone, or maybe a damaged alien plant container. Instead, when the lock popped open, a young alien woman fell forward into his arms. Her silver skin shimmered even in low light, her eyes faintly glowing like distant moons. She looked light as mist, but warm like a living flame. He carried her inside, unsure if she was dangerous. But when she opened her eyes, there was no threat in them. Only confusion, exhaustion, and something he couldn't name. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked like dry air. He gave her water, wrapped her in a thermal blanket, and waited. Her breathing stabilized. Her shoulders relaxed. "My name is Lyra," she whispered, voice soft and melodic. Evan nodded. "You're safe here. I'm Evan. I found your pod outside." Her eyes widened with a mixture of surprise and gratitude. But before she could answer, she suddenly went still. Her expression shifted, as if she heard something no one else could. She studied Evan closely, almost too closely. "You are worried," she said quietly. Evan blinked. He had said nothing. He had barely moved. "How did you know that?" Lyra hesitated. Her lips pressed together in a nervous line. "I hear things, thoughts, feelings, from minds around me. Yours are loud, because you try to hide them." Evan stiffened. His mind raced with questions. She could hear his thoughts, all his private fears, his doubts, his loneliness. Lyra didn't flinch. She stared at him with a small, gentle smile, as if trying to calm him. "Do not fear. I hear you, but I do not judge you. Your mind is warm, kind. I have not heard a human mind before. I did not know they sounded like this." Evan turned away, uneasy but also strangely curious. "What do you mean?" Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, touching her forehead gently as if steadying herself. "Where I come from, minds are cold, distant. Even when we speak with them, there is always a wall. But yours, your thoughts, reach out. They try to protect even when you are hurt. They try to help even when you are alone. I hear all that, and I like it." Her words made him awkward. Compliments weren't something he received often, especially not from someone who had nearly died minutes ago. He didn't know what to say, so he focused on checking her vitals again. He wanted to keep his thoughts quiet, but that only made them louder. Lyra's cheeks warmed. "You think I look strange," she said, though not offended. Evan froze. He hadn't meant anything rude. He had simply never met anyone like her, someone whose skin glowed, whose voice seemed to echo like a soft instrument, and whose presence felt both fragile and powerful. "I didn't mean it in a bad way," he muttered. "I know," she said gently. "You also think I am peaceful. Thank you." Evan swallowed hard. This was going to be complicated. Hours passed as Lyra rested. Evan fixed a broken heater, organized his tools, and tried to act normal, even while knowing she was hearing everything inside his head. Every small doubt, every quiet emotion, every hidden fear, she could sense them all. But instead of pulling away, she seemed drawn to them. Every time she glanced at him, her expression softened, almost like she felt comfort in the way his thoughts moved. At one point, when she tried to stand and nearly fell, he rushed to help her. She steadied herself by lightly placing a hand on his arm. Her touch was warm, almost soothing, and her eyes brightened. "You thought I would fall. You cared before I even moved." she murmured, like she was surprised by the idea of someone caring at all. Anyone would help, Evan replied. She shook her head. No, not anyone. Many minds only think of themselves. But you think of others first. Even when it hurts you. Evan wasn't used to someone seeing him so clearly. It made him feel exposed, but not unsafe, more like someone was finally shining a light in a dark room he had walked through alone for years. Later, when she was strong enough to sit in the small dining area, she looked around the station. You live here alone? He nodded. It's quiet. And I like fixing things. But your mind does not like silence, she said softly. He froze again. She had sensed that too, the way loneliness sometimes echoed louder than any broken engine. Lyra's expression filled with empathy. Silence hurts you. But you pretend it does not. Evan didn't respond. He didn't know how. She reached out and rested her hand over his for a moment. I hear your quiet pain. But it does not frighten me. It makes me feel close to you. He stared at her, unsure if she understood how strange those words sounded. She had known him for only a short time, yet her voice carried sincerity, as if she had listened to years of unspoken thoughts. Suddenly, the whole station trembled. A warning light flashed above them. Evan jumped to his feet, checking the console. A small patrol ship had appeared outside, unknown origin. Weapons armed. He cursed under his breath, and Lyra's eyes widened because she heard every layer of fear and frustration inside him. They found me, she whispered. Her voice trembled for the first time. Evan turned sharply. Who? Lyra's glowing eyes dimmed. The ones who launched my escape pod. They want to erase all who can read minds freely. They fear us. Evan felt anger rise inside him, a deep instinct to protect someone who had barely survived. Lyra heard that too, her expression softening. You want to protect me, she whispered, touched by the feeling. Even though you do not know me. I don't need to know everything, Evan said, trying to sound calm. You're in danger. That's enough. Her breath caught. She hadn't expected that answer. He could tell. She gently brushed her fingers near his wrist. Not quite a touch, but close enough that he felt her warmth. You are different from others, she whispered. Your thoughts choose kindness even in fear. He didn't respond. There wasn't time. The patrol ship powered a weapon, and the station shuddered again. Evan pulled Lyra to a safer section and sealed the doors. Stay down. Don't move. She reached for him but stopped herself, unsure if she should touch someone whose thoughts she already felt so clearly. Evan, your mind is racing. You are scared for me more than for yourself. Maybe, he admitted. She smiled softly. I hear your fear, and I love that you still stand between me and danger. He didn't know what to do with those words. He didn't know how someone could listen to his thoughts and find something lovable in them. The patrol ship fired again. Lights flickered. Evan grabbed tools, ready to fight or flee or shield her anything he could do. His thoughts sharpened with determination, and Lyra's breath caught again because she heard each one. You really would protect me, she whispered, awed by the idea. Evan looked back at her. Yes, I would. Her glowing eyes filled with emotion he couldn't name. Then I will tell you everything in time. But for now, trust your thoughts. I already do. The station shook violently as another blast hit. Evan stood in front of her, jaw tight, heart pounding, determined not to let anything take her away. And Lyra watched him with a soft, almost amazed smile because every thought he had, even the frightened ones, made her feel something warm and safe. She heard his private thoughts, and she loved them. The station shook hard enough that dust rained from the ceiling. Evan steadied himself on the wall, trying to think fast. Lyra watched him, her glowing eyes reflecting every fear and every plan forming inside his mind. She didn't only hear his thoughts, she felt them travel through her like quiet waves. It gave her strength she didn't expect to have. What do they want from you? Evan asked, bracing as another impact rattled the hallway. Lyra lowered her head. They want silence. My people, the ones who trained me, they fear mind speakers like me. They say we break the order because we hear truth, even when it is hidden. I escaped because I refused to be controlled. Evan frowned. So they hunt anyone like you? Yes, she whispered. They hunt us until no one is left. Evan could feel the anger crawling up his spine again. And Lyra flinched, not because the emotion scared her, but because of its strength. You think it is wrong, she said, almost surprised. You think no one should suffer for something they were born with. That's because it is wrong, Evan said. You didn't choose to hear thoughts. You just do. Lyra looked down, her hands curling in the blanket around her. No one has ever said it like you do. Before Evan could answer, the outer hull alarm went off. A metallic tearing sound echoed through the station. The patrol ship was cutting through the docking ring. They're boarding, Evan muttered. Lyra inhaled sharply. Her mind instantly pressed against his, reaching for reassurance she wasn't sure she deserved. Evan felt it a soft pressure, like she was searching for something warm to hold on to. He steadied himself. Lyra, listen. I have a plan. She blinked fast. I hear your plan forming, but it is unclear, because I don't have all the parts yet, he admitted. Her lips twitched slightly. Even in danger, she found something gentle in him. Then, think fast, she whispered. Evan grabbed the emergency kit from the wall and led her to a maintenance shaft. It was narrow, dusty, barely used. He helped her crawl inside, making sure she didn't hit her head on the metal pipes above. Lyra paused halfway in. You think this is risky, she murmured. Everything right now is risky, he replied. But you'll be safer if we stay out of sight. Arn, she touched his wrist gently. I will follow your thoughts. They slipped deeper into the shaft, the metal echoing softly beneath them. Behind them, heavy boots crashed onto the station floor. Voices deep, mechanical, commanding filled the docking bay. Lyra trembled. Her people weren't warriors, but the ones sent after her were trained for this. She heard their minds, even from far away. Cold minds. Empty minds. Minds that didn't care if she lived or died. Evan heard nothing, but he saw Lyra's face tighten, her breath shorten. What is it? He whispered. They are many, she said softly. And they believe I am dangerous. More than I even knew. Are you dangerous? Evan asked carefully. She hesitated. Her fingers curled slightly, as if she feared the answer. Only if someone forces me to be, Evan nodded. That was enough. They continued crawling until they reached the junction. Evan quietly removed a panel and helped Lyra step out into a dim storage room filled with broken crates and old engine parts. Lyra sat on a crate, gathering her breath. Her voice was quiet, almost trembling. Evan, they believe you are hiding me. He froze. How do they know? I hear their minds. They saw the pod was moved. They feel my presence. And they think the human here has taken me as a hostage. She looked up at him slowly. They think you want to use me. Evan's jaw locked. That's not true at all. I know, she whispered. Your thoughts show only fear for me. Never desire for control. That is why she stopped. Her cheeks glowed faintly. Evan didn't press her. There was no time. The patrol soldiers moved closer. The thuds of their boots traveled through the station metal, like distant thunder. Evan checked the storage room's old ventilation shaft. We'll move through here. They won't expect us to stay low. Lyra nodded, but her hands shook. Evan placed his hand over hers, steady and warm. She inhaled sharply, as she felt his calm determination. You are not thinking of yourself at all, she whispered in awe. You are only thinking of getting me out. That's what people do when someone needs help. No, she corrected him softly. That is what you do. They climbed into the vent and crawled again. The air was cold and dusty, but it gave them cover. Evan led the way with a small flashlight, checking each turn before signaling her forward. Every time fear flickered inside his mind, Lyra felt it, and every time he pushed through it, she felt even more. She admired him, She didn't understand why a human who barely knew her would choose to risk so much, and that admiration filled her chest with a strange warmth she had never felt before. Suddenly, a loud clank echoed behind them. The vent shook. A soldier had opened the panel from the other side. "They found us," Evan whispered. Lyra's breath caught. "Evan. They think of harming you." He looked back at her calmly. "Then I'll distract them. You run." "No," she said immediately. "I hear your thought. You want to act as a shield. Lyra, I will not let you give yourself up for me." The vent shook again, this time closer. Evan made a quick decision. He kicked open the vent ahead of them and jumped down first, landing hard on the floor of an old engineering room. Lyra followed, catching herself on his shoulder. Before they could move, the vent behind them burst open, and two armored soldiers crawled through with glowing helmets and pulse rifles. Lyra gasped as she sensed their cold intentions. Evan grabbed her arm and pulled her behind an engine block. He ducked as a pulse shot hit the metal above them, leaving a smoking crater. Evan's heart pounded. Lyra heard every beat through his thoughts. "You think you can't win," she whispered shakily. "Doesn't matter," he muttered. "I only need to buy time." She grabbed his hand. "Your courage is loud. Too loud. It fills me." Evan looked at her. "Can you do anything to stop them?" She shook her head. "Mind speaking is not control, it is only listening. I cannot enter their minds unless they let me. Then we have one option." Evan scanned the room. There was a maintenance door on the far side. If they reached it, they could lock it behind them and slow the soldiers down. He took a deep breath. "When I say run, stay right behind me." "You are thinking of protecting me again," she murmured. "You never stop, and I won't." Before she could argue, Evan leaped from the cover. Pulse fire streaked past him, lighting the room with flashes of electric blue. Lyra ran close behind, trusting him even when her legs trembled. Evan grabbed a tool cart and pushed it over, blocking the soldier's view for a second. They reached the door, and Evan slammed his hand on the control pad. The door slid shut just as a pulse shot hit it from the other side. Evan locked the seal. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. Lyra leaned against the wall, gripping his sleeve as her body shook. You risked everything," she whispered. "Your thoughts were full of danger, but also full of hope." "You okay?" he asked. "Yes, because you think of me with kindness that I do not understand," she admitted. Evan tried to steady his breathing. "We're not safe yet." Lyra closed her eyes, pressing her palm against the wall. "They are spreading through the station. They want to trap us. But," she frowned, "their commander is confused." "Confused about what?" "You." He expected a human to hide, to surrender, or to panic. But your mind is heavy with protectiveness. He does not understand why a human would care for me." Evan shrugged. "They don't know humans very well." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Her voice softened. "Your thoughts make me feel safe. I have never felt that before." He glanced at her, surprised. "Never?" "No one listens to what I feel. Only what I read. But you think of me like a person, not a tool or a danger." Her expression warmed. "That makes every thought from you precious." He didn't know what to say. He just knew he wanted to get her out alive. "We'll reach the escape shuttle," Evan said. "If we can power it, we can outrun them." Lyra nodded. "I trust your mind. Even when you doubt." They moved again, deeper into the lower decks. Behind them, the footsteps of the soldiers grew louder. Lyra touched Evan's hand once more, her voice trembling with something more than fear. "Evan, your mind is the brightest thing I have ever heard." He squeezed her hand gently. "Then stay close." She did, because every thought of his felt like a promise she didn't know she needed. The shuttle sailed through the dark stretch of stars, slipping deeper into the dust belt where enemy scanners struggled to track anything. Evan kept his hands tight on the controls while listening to the faint hum of engines vibrating beneath his seat. Beside him, Lyra leaned back with closed eyes. her breathing steady but her mind fully awake. She didn't need to speak to understand his thoughts. Each one echoed softly in her mind like warm ripples. "You're thinking of safety," she whispered gently. "You want a place for us to rest." "That would be nice," Evan admitted, glancing at her. "You've been running too long." Her eyes opened. "Not just me," she said. "Your thoughts carry exhaustion too. You want peace even if you pretend not to." "I'll worry about that later," he replied. Lyra smiled faintly. "You always tell yourself later. You hide your pain behind other people's problems." He looked away, avoiding her glowing eyes. She wasn't wrong. She had seen more inside him in a few hours than most people ever had in years. Her mind brushed against his gently, not forcing, not invading, just resting there like a comforting hand. Evan cleared his throat. "We need to find somewhere the enemy can't reach. There is a quiet moon beyond the dust belt," she said softly. "I hear the faint echo of signals there. Old ones. No mines. No patrols. You thought of going there earlier." He blinked. "You heard me think that?" "I hear everything," she said, not boastfully but honestly. "But yours are the only thoughts I never want to lose." Evan's chest warmed. He didn't know how to respond, so he focused again on the navigation screen. The shuttle glided through swirling clouds of dust illuminated by starlight. Behind them, the distant shapes of enemy ships searched blindly, their sensors scattering across the region. "They lost us," Evan whispered. Lyra nodded. "Their minds are confused. They believe we vanished." Evan exhaled slowly. Relief washed over him. But even as the danger faded, his thoughts tangled again: fear, hope, curiosity, uncertainty, and she felt every thread. Her hand brushed gently against his arm. "You are thinking of what comes next," she said softly. "You wonder if I will stay with you when the danger is gone." He stiffened. "Lyra, you don't have to stay. You deserve freedom. A chance to choose your own path. Away from fear." Her expression softened. "Evan, you do not understand. I did choose. I chose when you opened my pod. I chose when you defended me. Again and again. Your thoughts have shown me more kindness than any voice ever did." Her fingers curled slightly, glowing with faint emotion. "I stayed because my mind feels peaceful with yours." Evan felt a strange tightness in his chest, something gentle but deep. Before he could speak, the navigation screen beeped. They were nearing the small moon Lyra sensed earlier. It floated alone, wrapped in a soft blue haze and scattered ice plains. "We'll land there," Evan said. "No one will find us for a while." The shuttle descended slowly, cutting through the thin atmosphere until it touched down on a quiet, frozen plateau. Evan powered down the engines. Silence settled around them. True silence. Without alarms. Without boots echoing through metal halls. They stepped outside into crisp, still air. The sky above shimmered with faint blue lights drifting across the horizon, like gentle waves frozen in space. Lyra hugged her arms around herself as the cold brushed her skin, though her silver glow warmed enough to keep her comfortable. Evan set down a survival pack and looked around. "We can stay inside the shuttle for now," he said. "But if we need a longer base, I can build a shelter." Lyra watched him quietly before saying, "Your mind is calmer here. No danger. No noise. Only your natural thoughts." He raised an eyebrow. "Is that good or bad?" "Good," she said immediately. "Your calm thoughts feel like home." Evan felt heat rise in his face. Home wasn't something he had thought about in years. He had drifted from place to place, fixing ships, avoiding trouble, avoiding connection. Yet somehow, with Lyra standing next to him, he didn't feel empty anymore. Inside the shuttle, Lyra sat on one of the seats and looked around curiously. "This place is small," she said softly. "But your thoughts make it feel safe." Evan checked the power cells, still trying to act like everything was normal. "We'll stay hidden for a while. I don't think they'll risk following us into the dust belt again." They won't, Lyra confirmed, closing her eyes. Their thoughts drift far now. They believe I am gone. They believe you are a threat they cannot understand. Then she opened her eyes, her voice softer. Your mind frightened them because of your courage. But your courage protected me. Evan finally sat across from her, exhaling slowly. Lyra, can I ask something? She nodded. When you hear my thoughts, all of them, does it ever feel like too much? She stared at him, startled by the question. No, she said softly. Your thoughts do not harm me. They are honest. Even your fear is gentle. And the warmth you feel when you look at me, it makes my own mind feel bright. Evan blinked. You can feel that? Yes, she whispered. Every time. Silence stretched between them. Not cold silence. Comfortable silence. Lyra leaned forward slightly. You fear losing me, she murmured. Even though I am right in front of you, he swallowed. Because I know what danger follows you. And I know what it felt like, almost losing you. And I know how your mind sounded in those moments, she replied. Full of hope. Even when everything looked impossible. Evan rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. I'm not used to anyone understanding me so deeply. Lyra reached out, her fingers brushing his hand gently. I am not used to understanding someone who cares. Their eyes met. Her glow felt softer now, not bright like before, but warm, like a quiet flame. Suddenly, Lyra's expression shifted. I hear something, she murmured. Evan sat upright. The soldiers? She shook her head. Not mines. A signal. It comes from deep under the moon's surface. Her eyes widened. A hidden structure. Evan frowned. A base? No. She whispered. Older. Very old. They exited the shuttle again, scanning the ground. Lyra led him toward a rocky opening, where faint blue crystals lined the walls. The deeper they went, the stronger the signal felt, not to Evan, but to Lyra. It was not a living mind, but an echo of something once alive. They entered a wide chamber buried under ice. In the center stood a tall crystal pillar, glowing faintly. Lyra stepped toward it slowly. This is an ancient mind storage crystal, she whispered. My ancestors used them to keep memories safe. Evan approached cautiously. Can it hurt you? No, she said. It holds knowledge, not power. She touched the crystal. Her glow merged with its light, and for a moment, Evan felt a soft hum in the air. When she pulled her hand away, her expression had changed. I understand now, she said softly. Mind speakers were never meant to be hunted. They were meant to guide, to protect. My people forgot that. She looked at Evan with emotion shining in her eyes. But you remembered. Without ever knowing, Evan stepped closer. Lyra. She placed her hand gently on his chest, right over his heartbeat. Your mind taught me what it means to be safe, what it means to be valued. That is something even my ancestors could not store in crystal. Evan felt his breath catch as her thoughts touched his soft, warm, grateful. Evan, she whispered, no matter where we go next, I will stay. Not because you protect me, but because your thoughts make me feel alive. He held her hand gently. Then we stay together. Lyra smiled, one full of light, warmth, and certainty. Yes, together. Outside the chamber, the quiet moon waited. No enemies, no hunters, no cold mines. Only the open stars and the soft hum of a future they would build side by side. For the first time in a long time, Evan felt something bright begin inside him, hope. And Lyra felt it too, because she heard his thoughts. And she loved them. If you want part 5, or a new HFY title, just tell me. And she wasn't going to let go.